What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another day, another episode of the Daily Grind. I'm your host, DianG, and on today's show, we're going to be talking about Microsoft. CEO Satya Nadella says Xbox must finally become sustainable business after 25 years of investment. We're also going to talk about Microsoft hasn't ruled off spinning off Xbox as its own entity. It's claimed. And then we also have Xbox losing hundreds on each console sales. It's also claimed. If you guys like what I do, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. We just cover news stories, videos, YouTube, React, give you my thoughts and opinions. Then we get your thoughts and opinions in the morning chat. What's going on, chat? Good morning. Hope everyone had a good weekend. Let me see who's all here. Let's scroll all the way back up. Altern, good morning. Oh, missed it. Altern, Eclipse, Ward, Water Bear, Just Enough. Who else is going on here? Jason, what's going on? Good morning. Mr. Luke, good morning. Water Bear, good morning. Mr. Z, what's going on, everybody? This weekend, man, I lost a lot of sleep. I got into the early alpha build of The Legend of California. And it's just an open world survival game. I love the theme, man. Like, it's funny to me because I've been watching a lot of Jeff Kaplan's videos on this game for the last, I don't know, I want to say like 4 months, because it was back in like February or March when I first started watching it. And I love the open candor of the whole development team. Like, you can go watch so many hours of footage of this game, and they're just open about how they're building it, what's going on, how it works, all this stuff. And I like that about that. I know that because War Dogs is sort of doing the same type of stuff, right? They're just very open about what they're doing and how they're building it and whatever. And Jeff Kaplan's talked about how he likes Rust, right? And I don't like Rust. Okay, I don't like Rust. It might be the thematic of it, and I believe that's what it is. It's thematic of it. I don't like the thematic of what Rust is, right? But all of a sudden, Rust is now, Legends of California, which is not so straightforward PvP. There's a lot of PvE in the Legends of California, and there's also PvP, like areas that you can go into. But thematically, I love Westerns, man. I love Westerns. I don't know if it is because when I was growing up, I used to watch a lot of like Western type of stuff. I love Red Dead Redemption 1. I love Red Dead Redemption 2. Like, I really, really, really like the Western theme, right? So much so that when we watched Mando season 1 is very Western-y, right? Loved it. Thought it was great. Okay. So I've been playing Legends of California this weekend. I played 20 hours this weekend into the wee mornings, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm playing video games, and I'm just playing this California game, and I like it. I like it a lot. Unfortunately, it's done at 10 a.m. this morning, or 10 a.m. Pacific, so which is what, 1 p.m. And I like the grind. It's like casual grind. You can have a group or a posse, I guess you could call it, a crew, I think they call it inside there. We have up to 4 people. I didn't have a crew. I just had my own play alone. Okay, and just the map is gigantic. It's huge. It's the state of California. Okay, I only got by around like San Diego-esque type, like South California, and man, I did a lot of stuff. The grind is there. There's no quests. There's missions, like missions that you can go out and do. There's different strongholds you can go to. There's different mines you can go to. You can build your own ranch. You can start slowly building your ranch. It's not as like you're building like in Valheim or Windrose where you just kind of like build. It's like prefab stuff. But when you build it, you get a claim. You stake a claim. Take a claim, and then you build the building. The structure's automatically there. Like, you get to put the structure down. But then you have to get the wood and stuff, and then the nails, and then you have to build it. But it's not like building, like you're building stuff. It's just more of get the supplies, boom, and it pops up. Good morning, Wonder Rose. And then you build, like, you have your own mine shaft, you have your own stable, you have your own lumber mill, it's good, man. I like it. I know my next game, it's probably not coming out this year. They said early access is going to come out in 2026. it doesn't look like that because I watched one of his what's it called? Like Lego Fortnite, sort of. It really is like Rust. That's the best way I could describe it, Luke. As far as there's no story mission, so it's not a story game. It's just an open world sandbox survival type of game. Really not really survival either. It's very relaxed on as far as the eating and stuff like that. So you don't have to constantly like drink and eat. There's food obviously, but there's just the way it is. I like it. Again, 48 years old, whatever. I like that type of game where I can just like put as much time as I want in it, and every time I'm done, it's completely like I had fun with Dune Awakening. I have fun with Hightail, like all those types of games where if I put 100 hours in, I put 100 hours in, and I'm like okay. If I put in 5 hours, if I put in 10 hours, this easily will be another 200-hour game for me when it comes out. Altered says, Rust, I think I'm good. Well, when I say Rust, it's inspired by Rust, but it's not the whole map is not PvP, right? Altern, it's not all PvP. There's sections, and they're talking about making like servers that are all PvP, but right now the game is being built on a PvE, PvP sections. So the whole map is PvE. 90% of the map is PvE. There's missions and stuff that you can take with inside the, and they're called lawless when you get the gear and stuff. So what happens here is if you're in a PvP area and you loot the chests and get the weapons and stuff, it's all marked with like a red bandana. Okay. Now, while I'm in that section, if a player comes and kills me, he could take anything with the red bandana on me. If I had stuff on me that wasn't part of red bandana, like I didn't pick up the lawless stuff, they can't take. Okay. Once you leave the PvP area, it takes like 30 seconds, okay? You're out of the PvP zone, okay? So you really can't lose your stuff. Now, if I don't go back to my base and I happen to go back into a PvP area, anything with the red bandana still can get lost. But in a PvE area, no one can kill you, right? Once I go back to my base, it all becomes regular, so now I can't lose that stuff, okay? So, yeah, a little bit more like the Division DZ type of stuff. Right, so it's really interesting. I played a lot. Unfortunately, the minimum requirements, my computer's barely getting by, so I won't probably ever stream the game unless I get a Steam machine for $20,000. You know what I mean? Joking. But yeah, it's fun. That's what I've been playing all this weekend. That's basically everything I've been playing this weekend. All right, let me see what you guys are talking about. Eclipse says, I'm actually the opposite. I grew up watching Westerns, and I hate them so much now. Andy Griffin. Let's go on, Rorik. Yeah, it's only on PC right now. Only on PC right now. Jeff Kaplan's been very straightforward. He says if the game works out really well and it's very popular, a lot of people are playing it, then they'll talk about putting it on console down the road. So we're talking like probably 2 years or so down the road. But the game obviously is in development right now. So it's early access, or I'm sorry, early alpha builds. And I have to say, for an alpha build, as far as Windrose was early access, very polished for Windrose. This is alpha, very polished. There's a couple things that happened. You'll be like riding on the road, and all of a sudden, like the terrain, because every time you play the game, it repopulates like every reset. Oh, that's another thing that happens. When the game comes out, every month it'll be resetting like a Rust. Okay, so everything you do in that month is for that. But then there's what they call it, legacy. So like there's stuff that you can do that stays with your character, and everything else gets wiped every month or whatever. I don't know how I feel about that, but we'll see as it gets developed. But what the hell was I saying now? There was something else I was going to say. I'm completely lost. Oh, it's an early alpha, okay, alpha build, and there's like clipping of stuff. So there'll be like rocks and stuff that are on the road that doesn't populate correctly. The points of interest on the map change by the day, and it's a cool technology, or at least the video I watched. So about 150 meters in front of somebody, if you're running in one direction, you have like a cone of vision that you don't see. The developers, like, this is how they programmed it. Your guy has a cone of vision. And about 150 meters in front, it automatically populates like an outpost or a camp or a distillery, whatever, like a point of interest. So as you're running in that direction, all of a sudden it'll pop up before you get there, and then there's something to do, right? And they have these things all over the place. It's pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting. Eclipse says, has he said it's going to do the same thing as Rust does, where every month it's a different map? Yeah, so every time you start a new game, like I started off in the south where other people started up in the north. And then right now there's about 60 people per server. They want about 100 people per server, like consistent. So I started way in the south. So I was in the Mojave Desert area. The videos that I was watching with him playing, he was like way up north. Every time you start a server, it's brand new, right? And the map is procedurally generated every single time. So it's never the same map. So like if you played on, January and then February starts, let's say you both start in the Mojave Desert both times, it's going to be a completely different layout than it was the time before that. Roads are different. Everything's different. Oh, there's like tiers, and you don't have to worry about like doing the tiers. Like I got to do this. It's just stuff that you do in the game, and it levels you up. Once you get to level 7, you move up to tier 2. Tier 2 unlocks a bunch of different things. More people you work with, the faster the checklist gets checked off. If you're playing by yourself, obviously it'll take longer. But yeah. What's up, Rorik? Yeah, we're talking about Legends of California. Can you play solo map or just server? You can. It's a you can't play solo. They said maybe down the road there might be something they put in, but there's no solo gameplay, right? I mean, you can play solo gameplay, but there's no solo map per se, at least right now. Let's see here. Yeah, it's procedurally generated. So I'm actually, this is when and again, someone might play this game and be like, I don't like the game. It's boring. It's whatever, right? When you like a game, when you're playing that game, all of a sudden the alpha is done this morning. And I was just like, man, I'm kind of sad that it's done. Like, all I want to do is play the game. Because there's always something constantly that you're unlocking or doing. That's why I like those types of games. Yeah, I don't know about that, Ron. Legends of Idaho. Well, maybe. All right, let's get to the first story. So Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella says Xbox must finally become a sustainable business after 25 years of investment. Now, I don't know about this. I'm pretty sure Xbox at one point was profitable and was sustainable. But the business changed. The business model changed. And he's been there for what, 14 years, 15 years? Okay. So again, I haven't read this. Okay. We read the stories for the first time on stream, and then I give you my thoughts and opinions on it as we read. Look at that smile. He's like, I'm a billionaire. All right. So this week that ends tomorrow easily ranks at the very top when it comes to sheer amount of public statements made by Xbox Microsoft executives in the span of a few days. Ain't that the truth? Okay. Through a series of interviews, Xbox CEO Asha Sharma, the Chief Strategy Officer Matthew Ball outlined a bold plan to rescue the division from its low margins and a potential spin-off, joint venture, or sale by the parent company. Yesterday, in a video interview with Hard Fork, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella claimed no one could accuse the company of not having invested the Xbox throughout the past 25 years. But now the time has come to make it sustainable and monetize the content. Nadella even went so far as to quip that YouTube currently monetizes Xbox games better than Microsoft itself. The hell does that mean? First of all, YouTube is free. YouTube is free. Okay? YouTube is free, and that's how it makes its money. That's how Google makes its money, with advertisers, ads, and stuff like that. That's not how Xbox makes its money. Xbox, you have to pay for the console, and then you have to pay 60, then 70, 80, sometimes 90, sometimes 100, 120 to get the games for the actual box. Or you you buy the Xbox, and then you also get the what's it called? Game Pass. You're paying monthly for the Game Pass. As you guys can tell, my voice is still a little rough. What's going on, Kylo? What's going on, Cisco? Mo. It says Asha is really 100 days in, and she put out the post saying the next 100 days she's going to take a fresh look to make sure that the delivery of what our fans expect us both on the hardware side and also the publishing side. The challenge now for us is to think about how do we do to innovate both hardware as well as the games going forward in a world in an economically viable way. It says we've also invested a lot. No one can accuse Microsoft of not having invested in the last 25 years. Yeah, but why is it like why does it sound like a father talking to like a child, right? It's not like, well, no one can say I haven't invested in it. Like, what are we talking about here, right? You guys, Microsoft, started the Xbox back in the day. It wasn't like oh, well, they came in, I happen to support them. It's not a stepchild. It's your child. Like, you created Xbox with the Microsoft, okay? No one's saying that you haven't invested in 25 years. I don't think anyone has said that. Obviously, you have. It says, and now we have to turn this into a sustainable business and delivers what fundamentally one of the best sources of entertainment. How is it that they were sustainable? They were profitable in the early days when it was just console, video game, console, video game. Only in the last 10 years, really, with the online, the live service, all this stuff, with the microtransactions and stuff, to say that Microsoft is not sustainable. It is sustainable. PlayStation sustainable, Nintendo sustainable, Xbox could be sustainable, but they chose to change the business model of box, game, software, right? Buy the box, buy the software. They changed the game. The business didn't change as far as that. That was what it was, and that's where it was profitable. They decided, as I've said for the last couple of years, to go on their own island about with Game Pass, the digital games, right? Investing $7 billion into Bethesda, investing $69 billion, almost $70 billion in Activision Blizzard. Like, was that needed? To be like, well, they need to sustain themselves. They didn't need to spend $70 billion to try to be more investment. They could have just, I don't know, taken that $70 billion and made games. $70 billion. Do you understand how many video games you can make with $70 billion? Like, not even first party. You could have taken that money, went to a third-party publisher or a company, studio, and they could have made a game for you for a whole lot of less money. But they didn't want to do that. It says the challenge we have is what we've not been monetizing that entertainment. If anything, we've been subsidizing that entertainment. In fact, there are more and more monetization of Xbox gaming happening on YouTube than at Microsoft. So from Nadella statement, it's clear that the gloves are off, and Xbox must live or die on its own, as Microsoft will no longer be bankrolled indefinitely. So they're cutting the kid off. They're like, it's time to grow up. Xbox, put your big boy pants on. Daddy is no longer bankrolling you. Later in the interview, Nadella added that Asha Sharma and her fellow executives must define a new role or a new model that somehow merges all the various Xbox platforms from the console to PC, from mobile to cloud. Unfortunately, because of what's happening with the cloud and AI, the prices have gone up. In happening with the PCs is happening with the phones, and Xbox is impacted as well. The scarcity of the semiconductor supply and memory in particular is having a massive impact on consumer electronics. That's a temporal thing that also I think we'll get through. Well, of course, it's not going to be a permanent. There is a permanent thing, which is what's the Xbox model going forward. PC and console both have their places. Obviously, mobile and the people playing elsewhere. And so we also have now to bring it all together while staying true to what we've always done. I don't know if they know this, but there is literally a plan like Steam. Okay. Now, Steam doesn't well, they are making a box now, but that wasn't their business model, right? Their business model was a platform where people could just put their games on the platform, and then people buy those games, and Steam makes money because they're getting a cut. That is what PlayStation is with third-party games. That is what Xbox is with third-party games. That is what Nintendo is with third-party games. And on top of that, they make their first-party titles with the box. Okay, so when they talk about the model going forward with PC, console, both have their places. Obviously, mobile has their place elsewhere, and we're having to bring it all together while staying true to what we've always done. What you've always done is made a box and make games for that boxes. You know what you've done, Xbox? You've stopped making the software for the actual box. You've made yourself obsolete. So now you've made yourself some sort of monster between Steam and what console is, where people really don't need your box, but they can still play your games. So now you've just become a platform to compete with Steam, which is fine because there's plenty of room, right? You just have to compete with Steam, right? Before you're competing with PlayStation and Nintendo, now you're competing with Steam and Epic's not really competing, right? It says, it's no easy feat, though. The road appears paved in Project Helix, which will allow users to play PC games on an Xbox console. Well, that's because it's a PC. And the software situation, perhaps more problematic. Sharma confirmed that Xbox cannot afford more than one or two executives for now, or exclusives for now. Gears of War E-Day and Clockwork Revolution until the business becomes healthier. And then when the output issue, the new Xbox CEO openly wants to invest more into big franchises like Halo, Fallout, Elder Scrolls, while reducing the funding for smaller games. There was another story. I didn't have it in one of our stories today, but rumors is that Gears War E-Day cost $400 million. Like, that's not going to win you over, right? That's not going to win people back when you're spending that much money. It says it will take some time before the leadership action can actually affect the bottom line. Until then, Xbox must hold fast. Xbox has been holding fast the last decade, by the way. Yeah, this is crazy to think that all of a sudden, Microsoft is just like, yeah, we're going to have to let them go. They're going to have to. It's like letting your kid go on a bicycle. You got to learn how to fend for yourself, which is fine. But they were doing that before, right? You can go back. It's not like history doesn't exist. You can go back and look that Microsoft Xbox was very profitable in the past. Now, obviously, there's more people playing video games now. They're also spending way more cash now, which goes into our next story, okay, which is Xbox losing hundreds on each console sale. It's claimed, right? But before we get to that, let's go to the chat here and see what you guys have to say about this stuff. What's going on, Crowded? Crowded says Valve should purchase Xbox. Yeah, it's not going to happen. If somebody purchases, which would be hilarious, obviously it would either be the big three. Here are the three people that could buy Xbox, okay? It would either be like an Apple. Apple could purchase the Xbox division. It could be Netflix. Netflix could purchase the Xbox division. I want to say, well, actually, there could be four people. Amazon could afford the Xbox division, and also Google, which would be funny because Satya Nadella said that Xbox, if Google got into it, but Google probably wouldn't do it because Google already crashed and burned with the Stadia, right? So Amazon could do it, Netflix could do it, and Apple could do it. And Apple's always been in the ballpark. They are the leader for phone games, right, with the arcade or whatever. But they could easily come in. They wanted to buy Sony back in the day. So if this is up for sale, they could easily, because they're cash money. They're not pretend money. They're like cash. They can actually pay stuff in cash. Sarge says, these POSs are trying to say they weren't profitable for 25 years. Yeah, it seems like that, right, Sarge? But we could just go back and look at the books, and they were profitable and sustainable at one point. Shadow says, YouTube is a different service from video games. Do they not understand this? Yeah, I don't understand because, first of all, video, they're advertising so much for users and stuff, and it's a free platform. Xbox, you have to pay to get in. If you want to, look, if they put advertisements on, you have to literally make it free. If I'm paying for your box and you're charging me, like for instance, right? Let's go back to here, right? This news channel, like this article that we're reading. Look at all the stuff on the side here. They're advertising, right? All these other different things and different stuff. That's because they're selling space on their sites to subsidize them because I'm not subscribed to this. That's their business model, right? That's not Xbox's business model. Xbox's business model is I'm paying 150, 200, 300, 400, 500, 900 over the years for their box, right? I bought your box. That's it. I shouldn't get any advertisements on that. Now, could you get a free-to-play game? And in that free-to-play game, there's advertisements in that free-to-play game? Sure, 100%. You didn't pay for the game. But now if I buy a $60 game, a $70 game, an $80 game, a $90 game, a $120 game, don't be putting advertisements in there, which there's talks about. Madden might be putting more ads inside video games and stuff as well. Cisco says, is Microsoft telling Xbox to get a job? They are. They're saying it's time. We're cutting you off. No more allowance, Xbox. And Xbox is like, but Dad, I have this really cool plan. Mo says that's because Satya fucked up with AI and Xbox gets the blame. You know what, Mo? That's exactly. I will agree. I will agree with that because Xbox was profitable until Satya Nadella showed up 14 years ago, right? Shadow says Xbox has always ended up canceling and delaying games. Not that Sony is any better with this lately. It's because they're spending way too much money. They're like $250 million into a game, and they're like, well, if we get this game out, it's going to cost us additional $150 million. Like, yeah, this game's never going to make its money back at $400 million. Think about this now. If Gears E-Day actually costs $400 million, if it actually costs $400 million to make, how are they making that money back? Especially when it's not going to PlayStation now, right? And it's only coming to PC and Xbox. Do they think that all of a sudden, magically, the 28 million people that are on Xbox are going to all buy E-Day? And then everyone that has Game Pass that doesn't have, that's not on a new system is going to play Game Pass in the cloud, and they're all going to pay for that. And everyone on PC is going to buy it. Like, it makes no sense. $400 million. Do you understand how much money, how many copies they have to sell now? If that's $400 million before marketing? Like, let's talk about, like, movies. We talk about movies all the time, right? Video games used to be like 10 million, 12 million, 20 million, right? Now they're $400 million, $500 million. They have to sell, let's give it a quarter of what it is, right? So $400 million for E-Day. Let's say $200 million for advertisement for E-Day. That's $600 million. Okay, now you got to make that money back. You got to sell $1 billion worth of product just to make your money back. Sarge says, we're trying to tell me that Microsoft has been kicking the can down the road for 25 years. Get the fuck out of here. Shadow says, yeah, bad Steam gets a lot of hate and lawsuits lately. Crowd says, I'm so tired of corporate greed backfiring, and then they also want us to pay for their stupidity decisions after they get rejected. Ron says, didn't Concord cost $400 million? It cost $250, $400 total. What PlayStation paid for, as far as like what development was, what they bought it for, and then like that totals $400 million. I don't think Concord itself cost that much, but I could be wrong. Sarge says, how about this? How about you get rid of the 75 middle management that do absolutely fucking nothing except collect multi-million-dollar paychecks? Mr. Luke says, so they make so much money with the Game Pass, but spending on stupid shit, and they need to rein it in. They've got to be blowing money left and right. You cannot make a $400 million video game. Sorry. They're going to get their money back from Gears of War E-Day. They're not going to get their money back 100% not. If anything, though, for Gears E-Day, if it makes a swing of people going, oh, it's exclusive, and people start buying Xboxes again, but the next story we're about to read says they're losing money on them. Sarge says, so they're burn money like it's going out of style, but it's our fault. Eclipse says, no, Activision/Blizzard is worth more than Nintendo. Let's go on, Braychild. Not profitable enough. They need bigger bonuses. I guess so. They're like, hey, I couldn't afford the 85-foot yacht. All right? Come on. I can't be driving around in the harbor with a 40-foot yacht. Come on. I don't even know if 40-foot is considered a yacht. Justin Dove says, are they complaining that YouTube is more profitable in general, or that people are making way more money using Xbox games as content? I'm assuming Nadella is generalistically saying that YouTube makes more money off of Xbox games because of people playing it and stuff like that than they are themselves, which is just, make better games. Shadow says, yeah, a lot of the companies waste money on dumb crap, and they need to end up paying more if they screw up. Let's go on PS5. Activision Blizzard, or APK, is worth more than Nintendo. Nintendo market cap is $50 billion. Let's see here. Sarge says these are self-inflicted wounds. Shadow says it's the Concord tax. The Concord tax. Albany says that devs got paid too. Yeah, the devs get paid. This is another situation a lot of people talk about where they and I'm not saying you, just people in general be like, well, you got to buy the game because the devs need to make money. No, the devs get paid. It's a job. Like, that's like saying, you guys, you have to, when I dig a hole on the side of the road to lay cables and whatnot, you guys have to drive on the road so those people get paid. No, they got paid. There's a pool of money, and that money is allocated to those people that are working, and then they get money, right? I never understood this whole thing of, well, I gotta buy this game because you gotta support the devs. That doesn't apply to corporate. That applies to Cuphead. That applies to Tunic. That applies to independent games, Silksong, right? Where they also got paid because there was a budget. That's how the game got made. People worked. They got money, okay? But to support the devs is supporting them so they can make their next game, right? Like, they had the money. They got investors. They made Cuphead, right? Well, they put their house up for mortgage, okay? They made the game. It was successful. Now they can go on to make another game. In their case, they're making 2 games. That's how that works. A lot of people don't think that way. They're like, no, I got to pay for this so the devs make... No, corporate has money, right? And obviously, for the last couple of years, it doesn't matter if the game is successful or not successful. They're going to fire them regardless because of the bottom line. Mo says, $400 million on top of buying them, 30. $400 million on top of buying them. Yeah, well, it's $400 million for Gears E-Day, right? And then it's marketing on top of that. So you have to double that. You got to double that. That's $600 million. So that means they have to sell like $1.2 billion. If not, basically they have to sell 10 million copies, right? Let's look it up. Let's do the quick math. Let's do quick math. Okay, if it's 600 million, or 600 million. 600 million, and the game is what is it, $70? It'd be $70. They got 8.5 million copies sold. 8.5 million copies, roughly, have to sell, right? Shadow says movie studios are just as bad as wasting money. Yeah, and the movie budgets are way over budgeted too. Hence why the new horror flicks, Obsession and Backroom, they're low on the money, and they're making a crap ton of money because they don't cost $400 million to make. Shadow says YouTube is profitable because it's a very different service. Yeah, because it's free. It's free and they charge advertisement. Crowd says you would think they would also take a closer look at the leaders and their salaries after failing the company. Let's see. Jesse Max says, yep, I agree, 30. How can Xbox Game Pass bring back the money, Gears of War E-Day, and exclusivity, and can also see most of the players would also buy Gears of War E-Day and carrying Xbox for the money, right? I can tell you right now, I'm not buying E-Day. I'm playing it on Game Pass because I pay for Game Pass. I pay for the service. I already paid for the service so when it comes out later this year, I am not buying it, right? I'm playing it. So there's got to be a lot of people like me, right? They have like 20 million people, right, that are on Game Pass. And they got another 28 million people that own a console, and that's overlap there as well. They're not going to sell 8 million. They're not going to sell 8.5 million, 9 million copies. Shao says, I can't really say I feel bad for the devs. They choose to work in the conditions they were given. Yes and no. Well, that goes into a deeper thing, right? Like right now, like if you wanted to get out of the state you're in, you can't because you don't have enough money to get the movie and buy a house or get rent for the next place. Right? There's a lot of people who are stuck where they're stuck, but they're still getting paid. They decided to get a job, whatever job that is. If I work at McDonald's, if I work at a fucking studio, right? You're still getting paid. Cisco says, did anyone else watch the Jason Schreier video of why games cost so much? Yeah, we watched it on stream here, I believe. That was the one. Clip says, I don't understand how they spent that damn much money on a game like the highest one before of 100 million. Oh, for Gears of War E-Day. Yeah, the last one was 100 million. How did they quadruple? How did it quadruple the price? God says a lot of people, PlayStation would have bought E-Day as well, but they want to make Game Pass game exclusive for some reason. Well, here's the thing. I do understand why they don't want to put their game over on PlayStation. And they wouldn't need to put it over on PlayStation if it didn't cost $400 million, right? If it costs $100 million, right? So let's say it costs $200 million. $100 million for $100 million for the game. Let's say another $100 million for marketing, right? And you divide that by 70. They only need to sell 2.8 million copies, right? They only need to sell 2.8 million copies, and technically they got to sell more because that's just to get the money back. Okay, so actually, I'm sorry, I have to rewind what I did before, right? I have to rewind what I did before because before I said 600 million, right? It was 600 million, but we got to times that by 2, okay, which makes 1.2 billion, and then divide that by 70, and they got to sell 17 million copies. Okay, so now if it's a $100 million game, right, and then let's say it costs $200 million total, you divide that. You times that by 2, right? Because that's the money they make back when they get the price. That's $400 million. Well, you divide that by 70, they have to sell 5.7 million copies. That's much more manageable than 400 million, right? So really, they don't need to go to PlayStation as long as they keep the budget down on the actual games. And again, this is very simplistic math. This is not. There's a lot of stuff that goes involved with the servers and all the other stuff, right? Kyle says, man, if they actually cost them $400 million to make it, it's such a horrible decision. Gears hasn't been great since 3, and you're going to go and spend that much money on the new one? They're banking on nostalgia. It does look good, but $400 million? It doesn't look 400 million good. It doesn't look 400 million good. Eclipse says, I think the best-selling Gears of War was 2. I think it was like 6 million copies PC market might help. Is that the biggest one? Hold on. Let me see what the biggest one for Gears. Okay. At least on this, it says Gears of War franchise has surpassed 41 million copies worldwide. Okay? 41 million copies worldwide. The original Epic game trilogy before Microsoft acquired the IP in 2014, the first 3 games, including Gears of War 2, which sold over 6 million copies. The original trilogy passed 19 million units. Yeah, that's not going to happen with this game. There was a lot more Xboxes out in the wild when Gears came out than there is right now. Mr. Z says the salaries for 3 years is probably 300 million. Even if they made Pac-Man, it would take 3 years. Very true. Well, it looks like they're going to have to shrink the teams. And how would they do that? AI. Right? AI. They created all new assets. Okay. Here's the thing, right? Let's break it down to I'm opening up a brand new business. Okay, I'm making cupcakes. Okay, let's just say I make cupcakes. I have a 2,000 square foot building. Okay, for the cupcakes, because I know how much a cupcake costs. Let's just say $1 a cupcake. Okay, am I putting Venetian marble in my cupcake store? Or am I putting a cheaper type of material on the ground so it doesn't cost Venetian marble prices, right? Am I putting the latest, greatest thing? Probably not. If I was, and I was only making cupcakes, I probably don't need 2,000 square feet for a cupcake place, right? I could maybe shrink that down to 1,000 square feet, right? I could probably not use Venetian marble. Maybe I could use something like Venetian marble that looks like it, but not as pricey as that, right? Because I know that my cupcakes are only going to cost $1, right? The more I sell, the better it is. But that's not how they think, right? If Xbox owned the cupcake shop, they would have 800,000 square foot cupcake shop. They would have Venetian marble on everything, and they would charge you $20 a cupcake and be like, I don't understand why no one's buying it, right? That is the difference between what's happening with the video game business and an actual business, right? You can't be spending that much money on things that you know you're not going to sell that much. It would take you so long to sell so many cupcakes that you would never, ever pay off your flooring, let alone your business. Like, hey, we're going to make Gears of War E-Day. We're going to start off from scratch. How much is this going to cost? Oh, it's going to cost like $150 million. Oh, that sounds good. Then they check back in. Hey, guys, how's E-Day coming along? Oh, it's great. We worked all the assets. We did all the things from the ground up. What's it going to cost us? $400 million. I'm sorry. Did you say $400 million? Again, I don't know if it costs $400 million. That's the rumor going on. Well, they made the game from scratch, unlike the last ones. Titan says it's been 7 years since Gears 5. Coalition have been doing a lot of other things aside from making Gears. That's a studio burnt rate. Would also include that the cost of Gears, when really it's going to other projects. Perhaps. We don't have a spreadsheet, though, to tell if that's true or not. We also don't have the spreadsheet that tells us it's $400 million. We're just all speculating. I think they make it exclusive. They will sell more. They're fucking retarded. Let them burn. Mr. Z says, does your doctor visit recently do anything more? Libras? Nope. And you pay more. Leave California, Seattle, etc. That's another problem, Mr. Z. A lot of these companies, they have to move out of the state. The state is draining this market because they're charging way too much. The rent, the cost of living, the prices for each of the people in the actual company, the insurance, the taxes, right? All of it. They can make the exact same game if they put the infrastructure in Idaho. But nobody wants to live in Idaho. Hence why Elon Musk made SpaceX in what is it, Brownsville, Texas, and is literally building a city there for them. Right? If you build it, they will come. Shadow says you can guarantee it will release on PlayStation eventually. That would hurt what they just said, because if it's exclusive for Xbox. Now, they did say exclusive, not time exclusive. So if E-Day ever comes on PlayStation, that shatters the goodwill that they put out there. They said E-Day and Clockwork Revolution are exclusive. Even if they meant exclusive and it's only exclusive for 2 years, if it comes to PlayStation, that is going to burn the bridge down. Crowd says, Mike, don't lie. Gears looks way better than Concord for $400 million. Well, actually, that is true. That is true. Gears does look better than Concord for $400 million. Right. Mr. G says, Spyro Trilogy, 10 million copies. They can't bet the business on Halo and E-Day. Just saying. Titan says, E-Day sounds similar to Halo Infinite, building a lot of grounded up. Waterbear says, 30. What is the most selling Gears? Wasn't it 2? Yes, it says 6 million for Gears 2. Let's see what else you guys are saying. Kylo says, Coalition killed Gears, so hopefully they can bring it back with E-Day. Look, E-Day looks great. But good luck if it's true and it costs $400 million, good luck to you. Luke says $400 million for 12-player horde mode. it'll do it. That'll bring it in. Each person, it just has to be Bezos, Elon, I don't know, a couple other billionaires in the world. Or I'm sorry, one trillionaire and a couple of billionaires just so they can make their $400 million back. We'll just have a 12-man. It'll be a charity event. Mo says new engine, new assets, so less time needed for new games in the trilogy. Okay. So what you're saying, Mo, they spent $400 million, so they're going to lose money on Gears. Okay. And then they have to make the next Gears in the trilogy. So they revamped all the stuff, right? Then they're going to make Gears E-War 2 and then E-War 3, let's just say, a trilogy of this. So you're saying the $400 million is for the trilogy, not for the one. How much is the next game? Let's just say the next game is $100 million and the next game is $100 million because the assets are already made. So now you have $600 million just for the game. Then you have, let's say, additional $100 million for the marketing, right? So you have an additional $600 million for the first one, and then $200 million on top of the other two. So now you're at what are we at? We're at $2.4 billion. So now we need, for the grand total of the trilogy, which the last trilogy made 19 million units. 19 million units. The first game has to sell 17 million units. They're never going to make their money back. They're never going to make their money back because they overbloated the new assets, the new build, all the other stuff. They have to sell an enormous amount of video games to make that back. Profitable. Right? You're saying $400 million they spent because of the new assets and new stuff, and the next ones will be cheaper. Okay. Your logic makes sense, but reality sets in that a sequel to the last game actually costs more, 20% to 40% more. Roic says this is why when you go to a bakery, the cupcakes are $8. That's right. I started Gears of War with Sweat. And it was 14 years since E-Day. Oh, is it? Is it 14 years in between? Let's see here. Roic says, I won't go to PlayStation, and if when they make another new Halo, that would have to be an exclusive as well. Right. They're trying to win them over, win them back. CSO says, the Coalition are supposed to be the wizards of Unreal Engine. And they know it's as part of it because they've aided every Microsoft studio struggling with it. I can't imagine building it from the ground up. Costs $400 million. 12-player horde mode does sound good. It does sound good. I mean, look, as a player, I don't care if it costs $400 million. If the 12-man horde mode is awesome, I'm going to play it on Game Pass. Right? They get $0 from me as far as towards the 70. I already paid up. I'm already paid up. Right? They already have my money. So they're not making any more money off of me, and I get to play E-Day for the cost of a Game Pass. Crowd says, maybe if they think Fable and Gears is enough to move consoles. Maybe. Fable's not even exclusive, though. I'm still wondering what the 5 seasons are all about, because that's what's add-ons on. Marketing and what marketing might do. Ever really marketing anything? Mo, they spend money on marketing, regardless if you see this, because let's say you pay for YouTube Premium, you don't see ads. They might be advertising in different markets where the movie theaters. It might be in New York. It might be in Brazil. The rule of thumb is if the game cost or the movie cost, whatever it is, right, whatever the price is, it usually costs about half that amount. So if it costs $200 million, it's about another $100 million on top of that. Or you kind of double it or whatever, right? And that's what it is. That's how marketing works. Marketing is very expensive. I see people doing a $30 upgrade, but not millions. The two exclusives were E-Day and Clockwork Revolution. That's the two exclusives. I'm saying Microsoft don't fucking marketing they need to. Well, that's you're talking about like Game Pass. They don't market it enough. Well, that's because it's expensive, right? Hence why they did the marketing of everything's an Xbox, right? Because if that can stick out there, everyone's like, oh, everything's an Xbox. I don't really need to market, right? Yeah, they're not marketing it because marketing is expensive. And the reason they don't market Game Pass is because if they market it, they're not going to make their money back on the marketing. Xbox Game Studio boss Craig Duncan just stepped down, and their chief of the staff, O'Connor, stepped down as well. Connor used to be at Rare. He was the Sea of Thieves, then got promoted about like 2 years ago, and now he just stepped down. Interesting. Yeah, perhaps they need to market more, but looks like they're cutting their marketing budget even more. Yeah, because marketing is super expensive. Marketing is so expensive. Krabby says Google says coalition devs make high end 170,000 in Canada. That's 120 US. Google also says they has a high end of 260 employees. The Gears 5 released 2019. So 120 times 250 times 7 years is 220 million. 220 million equals 305 in Canada. Then there's other things on top of that, right? So that's just the salaries, right, Krebsy? So, right, so then you got to add a little bit more there. That's crazy. Because again, you don't know if they worked on I forget who set it up, but they were working on other things as well, right? So the people that are working, let's say I make $120,000 a year as a dev at the studio. What comes across my on my desk is let's say I helped out on Fable. Just saying, right? Microsoft ring. Hey, what's up, Coalition? Yeah, can you help us out with Fable real fast? Yeah, sure. So I still paying $120,000. Fable comes across my desk. I work on that for 2 months, right? So now I write down in my books, okay, this is how many hours I worked on Fable for 2 months worth of time. That gets documented as, okay, that's part of the budget. This person worked 2 months on Fable. Now Gears comes across their desk, and then they work on it for the next time, and something else comes in. They have to. So the 120,000 is not just 120,000 for that one game, right? They have to dock their hours and stuff like that. It's like when you go see a lawyer or anybody else or an accountant, right? The accountant gets paid, but they get paid by the hours of what projects they work on different things, so they can charge the customer or the thing, right? So I don't think we could do simple math, which is fine, and say that's what the price is. But I would think that if they worked on other stuff, that these certain people worked on other jobs and it wasn't 100% full time for 7 years on that. Crowd says streaming is a godsend for gaming industry to save money on marketing, save money on everything. Streaming is marketing. They don't have to pay for the discs. They don't have to pay for the packaging. They don't have to pay for the manuals. They don't have to pay for the shipping. They don't have to do any of that stuff. Jesse Mack says 30 Elon Musk, the first trillionaire. If they wanted to buy the company, yeah, but he's trillionaire in stock options, not cash money. I mean, he still could buy the company, but I did not, Mr. Luke. I was playing California. I was playing The Legend of California all weekend. Crowd says, I got to be honest. I've always loved the Xbox exclusives more than the PlayStation exclusives. I don't even play the PlayStation games. The only reason I have a PlayStation is because of Xbox fucked up the brand. Yeah, it's understandable. It's understandable. Ron says, will GTA 6 make its money back? Yes. Yes, 100% it will make its money back. But that's the outlier, not the rule. It's the exception. And the reason it makes its money back, it'll make its money back on day one or week one. Okay? And the reason it does is because they did the legwork ahead of time. right? They made all the Grand Theft Auto series, and everyone got better and better and better. And Rockstar has that class of people know, oh, when Rockstar makes a game, this is the type of class it is, and they know that's worth their money. That's what it is. All right, let's go to the second story here. Okay. Second story is Xbox losing hundreds on each console sale. It's claimed. Okay. If you guys like what I do, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as low as $5. We just cover news stories, have a conversation, give you my thoughts and opinions, get your thoughts and opinions in the chat. And if you like it, hit that like button. All right, so a recent claim states that Microsoft is losing hundreds of dollars on each Xbox Series X/S sold. Now, I haven't read the article yet. Is that before they raise the prices by $200? Or is that at this point of $200, right? There's been a lot of talk. Oh, hold on a second. I'm sorry? Oh, okay. All right, but before I start this story, let me back it up a little bit because we're at the very beginning. I'm going to go make breakfast for my son, and I'll be back in just a second, a couple minutes.
Boom, 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 boom. Yeah. Everybody pick a platform, baby. In the day, you had a box on the floor, Xbox, PlayStation knocking at your door, Nintendo on the side like a funky little friend, cartridges and colors that will never ever end. But now we got clouds floating over our heads, no more plastic kingdoms under our beds. Steam, Epic Game Pass kicking down the score. It's a funky revolution called the platform war. You log in, tune in, vibing, breaking every little lunch. You want a slice of your day again. Who's on top? Hard to tell for sure. Everybody wants you in their digital world. That's platform wars, grooving the game. Not about the console, not about the frame. Steam, Epic, Sony, Xbox, open the doors. We're dancing in the middle of a platform war. That's platform wars, battle in the sky. Clouds take the crown and the boxes say goodbye. Nintendo's magic of the lead is so. Everyone's fighting in the platform war. Yeah. You want deals? Steam will drop them on your head. Epic's throwing freebies like they're trying to make a bid. Game Pass flexing with the biggest buffet. PlayStation saying nah, exclusives all day. Everybody hustling the big online, trying to lock your body, mind, wallet and time. Hardware used to matter, yeah, but not anymore, cause the funk's getting funky in the platform war. Hit that login, join that line. All these ecosystems wanna make you sign. They want your playtime, they want your score, they want your soul in the platform war. Platform wars, moving the beat. Everybody dancing in the digital street. Steam, Epic, Cloud Tech, more and more. Let's strut our way through the platform war. Platform wars, the future is loud. Play anywhere, baby, we're gaming in the cloud. Kick down the walls, what you be waiting for? Let's get funky in the platform war. Yeah. See the console kings on their plastic thrones. They're looking at the cloud like, dang, that kid's grown. No disc, no drive, no box in the store. Everything's vibing in the platform war. Platform wars, dance to the fight. Gamers moving left, corporations moving right. Steam, Epic, Sony, Xbox, who's
All right. Let's get back to Xbox losing hundreds on each console sale, it's claimed. In recent claim, states that Microsoft is losing hundreds of dollars on each Xbox in Series X and S sold. As I said before, I'm assuming they're talking about before the price increase, okay? With higher-ups already discussing a revaluation of the next-generation console amidst cost concerns. However, the company has also reaffirmed a desire to remain on console. But it seems there is a current situation with the console sales in which the company is suffering losses. It says Xbox is suffering major losses on Xbox Series X and S. A report from Windows Central has revealed that Xbox is experiencing significant losses in console sales. It appears that Xbox has struggled to secure sufficient memory at a fixed price, preventing it from maintaining positive profit margins, according to information provided by Jez Gordon. Xbox is currently losing not dozens, but more than hundreds of dollars on each Xbox Series X and S console sold. Additionally, CEO Ashish Sharma has noted that the memory prices have risen by 700% since the Xbox Series X and S pricing was set. I have a question. Right now, I can go to the store. I can go to Target. I can go to Best Buy. I can go to Walmart. I can go online, whatever, right? I can purchase an Xbox Series S and X. Before the price increase, okay, I could have bought the same box that was on the shelf today as it was 6 months ago because they're not selling, okay? They're not selling. They weren't selling before because there was no games, right? There was no games. And now it's not selling because there's no games and it's $800, right? Those are the two problems. There was no games. Now there's no games and $800. How are they telling me with a straight face that the chips that were already in and the RAM that was already in these boxes that have been sitting on the shelves all of this time, that they're losing money on these things, when obviously they're gaining money on these, right? They're gaining money on those things because if they were selling that before and they were making a profit off of it before the price increase and all the RAM things and all the AI stuff that happened, remember, this has been out for 5 years. Xbox's sales at the last time they reported is still 28.3 million units sold. So if they're on the shelves and they already paid it, they already came across the ocean, already in a shipping container, already on the thing, those are paid, bought, and paid for on the shelf from the companies. Now we buy them from them, and they already made their money. So they've already made their money off of those, but they're saying they're losing money off of each one. Well, no, you're not, because you already paid for those. Those are paid and bought for. Now, the new ones that are coming over, there are certain regions. Let's say in Brazil, they were sold out. Now they have to remake some more, and they're putting them out there. But now, obviously, they're losing money on each console. That sounds like a problem for them because they didn't have management that looked at what was happening with the cost around the world leading up to this, and now they're losing it, right? But to tell me that they're losing money on the console that are already on the shelves in stores, which have been there. Remember, Costco got rid of pallets of consoles, okay? Moved out of the thing. They're like, we're not selling these because they're not moving. They weren't moving. So they're like, let's get them out of here, right? Because they knew the price was going to go up, and they said, we weren't selling before, we're not selling them now. So they got rid of them. Someone had to buy them, right? So someone picked them up. I don't care if it's an Ollie's. Somebody picked up that pallets from all the Costcos. They made money off those. They already made money off those. They're not losing money off those, right? Certain areas I understand, okay? It says memory scarcity issues and impacting not only Xbox, but all the major players in the industry. The CEO of Xbox has already addressed how the shortage is affecting the pricing availability of the next generation console. That's not even made yet. Nintendo has had a reconsidered pricing of the Switch 2, while the PlayStation 5's price has increased. Additionally, Valve is reassessing the pricing of its upcoming Steam machine. As a result, Xbox will soon need to take action to mitigate the potential losses. How come nobody else has this issue? How come we're not having stories about PlayStation 5 losing losing money, or Nintendo losing money, or any of these other companies losing money. In other news, Microsoft reportedly relied on Call of Duty profits to support Xbox. Okay, I can't believe any of this stuff. I really can't. Relied on Call of Duty profits to support Xbox, but an off year of the franchise disrupted the growth plans of revenue. Additionally, Xbox Chief Strategy Officer Matthew Ball has commented on the brand's approach to exclusivity. And what are your thoughts on the Xbox losing hundreds of dollars on each console sale? What do you guys think, chat? Right? I can't, because I'm not an idiot. Okay, I see what I see on the shelves. They haven't moved. I can go pick up those things. They're not losing money. They're actually gaining money because they were being profitable before. Now they're raising the price. Now the margins of these things, I don't know the margins, right? If they were making $50 off each one before, and now they're making $30 off each one, they're still making money, right? Especially since they raised it $200. This is lying on the entire new level, bro. I just can't. I can't imagine, Sarge. I can't imagine that they're losing money on the consoles that are already. They only have, again, reported. Let's go to console sales here. Right. I should really bookmark this. Right. First of all, from the first story, Xbox, the original Xbox back in the day, which is, where the hell is it? Right, Xbox, the original Xbox, that's Xbox One, Xbox. Okay, in 2001, sold 24 million units. Very successful back then. Very successful back then for that time. Okay, then they went to the 360, which sold 84 million. Okay, now Satya and Nadella told you that they haven't been sufficient and haven't been self-sustaining in that time. Okay, then Xbox One sold 58 million. Right, 58 million. And then we're at the Series S, which hasn't moved. This number has been the same, 28.3 million. They're not reporting. They don't tell us how many consoles they have sold. So this is the number we have to go by. And I go by this number because now when I go to Best Buy, or when I go to Target, or when I go to Walmart, or when I go to GameStop, they all have consoles, at least where I live. Now, obviously, that's a general statement because I don't know where you live if you can find one. But by me, the Xboxes are there, right? They weren't selling before the price increase, and they're surely not selling after. Let me scroll back up. Cisco says, it seems like Game Pass has a lot of niche investments in it. Didn't I read that Xbox is moving to stop investing in niche investments and focusing on big IPs? Mr. Luke says, BS reporter. I mean, it is claimed, by the way. It is claimed. Kyle says, positive Sony and Nintendo and negative Xbox is way of Clicksville. Well, when Asha Sharma last week, when we watched that interview, and she said that prices are going up, that has to go for everybody. Now, I understand that PlayStation probably already secured their RAM, right? What's going on, El Nini? Already secured their RAM, and Xbox was late to the party for securing RAM. Well, I hate to tell you, that's also bad upper management. Like, how do you not secure RAM years before your actually new console? Makes me wonder if they were actually going to make a console. Right? Think about this. Think about this, chat. If your job, right, you are a person that works for Xbox. You, chat, are the buyer for RAM for the new systems coming out. Okay? Think about this for a second now. That's your sole job. Your job is to make sure that the RAM is always constantly flowing through before. Okay? Well, now, here we are. The next console's coming out, and they're like, hey, can we get some RAM? And they're like, what do you mean? I thought everything was an Xbox. I thought everything was an Xbox. I didn't know we were supposed to get the RAM. I thought we were going to rely on other people making systems. They're like, no. That was yesterday, Tim. Okay? We need to make consoles today because that's what our clientele wants. They want us to still make consoles. And they're like, well, I thought we were going cloud. I thought we were going Game Pass. I thought we were depending on other people. We're late to the party now. Sony and Nintendo have already taken all the stuff. Steam's making a box. How do we get the RAM? And now they're like, oh, by the way, we're still supporting consoles. We're still going forward with the consoles. And now they're telling you that it's going to cost 5 times more because they haven't capitalized on the RAM for the next system. How are you surprised that you're making a system? Make sense, chat. How are you surprised that you're going to make a next system? How is this not done years ahead of time? Going, yeah, we're going to make a next console, and we should work on that RAM. Sarge says the gaming industry painted themselves into a corner. Self-inflicted. Luke says they're finally making and selling a PC. Eclipse says, especially since Microsoft is the ones that are also pretty much supporting AI with NVIDIA. Yeah. They support... Eclipse. They secured the RAM for their AI stuff, but they didn't secure the RAM for the consoles. Interesting, huh? Interesting. Sarge says they don't buy RAM randomly on Thursday. They buy RAM in bulk a year out. It's not going to grocery store. That's my point, Sarge. There's a person's job that makes sure that they have enough RAM for their next venture, whatever they're making. Years in advance. They make contracts and stuff. Waterbear says the plan is the plan until it's not the plan. Mo says the word on the street is they didn't shit quarterly like idiots. And Nintendo and PlayStation did the right way. If that is what's going around, then what I'm saying is true. They didn't think they were making a console. They didn't think they were making the next system. Am I right? If Microsoft was late to the party about buying for the next console, then they didn't know they were making the next console until after the fact. Jesse Max says, I bet the middleman and the shareholders and investors are blaming the players and the customers were all in charge of the mess buying an Xbox console. Crowded says, I bet Phil has a basement full of RAM. This is my speculation and my speculation only. I'm assuming, because remember back a couple years ago when everyone said that Windows is making, or Microsoft is making their own handheld, and I said, it doesn't make sense to make their own handheld. They would just team up with somebody. And they did. It doesn't make sense going forward because their strategy was Xbox and everything's in Xbox. Or I'm sorry, Game Pass and everything's in Xbox. Okay? They were relying, okay, again, my speculation, they were relying on everybody else making the hardware for their thing. Hence why it's on television sets and phones and tablets and wherever. Play anywhere. They were relying on everywhere else to make the stuff. When they did that, they made a rift in their clientele, right? The hardcore Xbox fans, which is not very many, to be honest with you, because if you look at this, okay, if you look at this, the max was 360 at 84 million, okay? Then it went down to 58 million, and this one's 28 million. So the fan base is not gigantic. It's still tens of millions. I would love tens of millions of people to watch my stuff, okay? But they looked at this and said, we're losing the battle here. We're not selling enough consoles. What if, again, still my speculation, guys, what if we made other people make the hardware and we just sell the games and we put Game Pass on those things? In that process, hence why they went with Meta, and Meta was making the Xbox standalone where you could do the exercise and do all the other stuff. They were making an Xbox One. They were limited run, okay? They were doing a test run with all these stuff to see if they would sell, and it didn't sell. Well, then the prices of RAM went up, and they were like, oh, shit. We just made a promise that we're still keeping in the consoles, which I said they're never going to get rid of consoles, right? It'd be like a niche thing, like as a record player type of thing. And now all of a sudden, the birds have come home to roost, but they don't have a fucking building for the hens to come in to roost, right? And they're like, oh, shit, now we have to build a... Well, now the supplies are 5 times more expensive, and they don't know what to do with themselves. because they're late to the party, because they thought they were ahead of the game, because they weren't going to make consoles anymore and they were going to make everything digital, right? And now they went through a retirement, okay? And then Asha Sharma came in and was like, well, we're going to make exclusives. Yeah, we're going Project Helix, even though Helix was already in the motion before. And now they're stuck. They're stuck. They don't have enough houses. Winter's coming. Their flock's going to die, right? That's what's happening right now. Because if you're in charge of buying RAM, you don't buy it now. You knew the console was coming out. You would have purchased it a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. You would have started to say, hey, yeah, we're coming out with a new console. We need to start buying RAM. We need contracts to start buying the stuff. This is what I think happened. Just my speculation, though. Sarge says, if RAM is so expensive, why make a new piece of hardware when you have millions of hardware sitting on being purchased or not being purchased? Mo says, Xbox always did it quarterly with all their consoles, Rampapocalypse, but them in the ass. If they were doing quarterly, though, you still have to have contracts, and they have to start selling the actual boxes. Again, saying what you're saying is, meaning they're not selling the consoles, so they didn't need to buy RAM because they weren't going to make the consoles anymore. Jesse says, I'm telling you, 30, Asha is putting AI to help to build the Xbox and RAM and hardware. Yeah, but even if I don't even think that's going to bring down the cost. I think the Hail Mary is, they're still going back to the Keystone. I think they're still going to go back to the Keystone. I truly do. I think the Keystone's in the back. They're going to name it something different. It's going to come out because that's going to be the cheapest box to sell, to get the most people to come in so they can start selling video games to those people. Because the RAM and stuff, this is why I'm telling you cloud is going to be the push. Waterbearer says that they pivoted back to physical too late, so now they have to pay the piper to speak. The customers will pay for it at the end of the highest cost. That's my thing. Yeah, the Keystone was the little box that they said they couldn't get the price down. Remember that? The Keystone was the little box that Phil Spencer talked about and said we couldn't get the price down low enough. Warbert says, be prepared to pay $1,200 for a console. Might as well switch to PC at that point. Mo says, off topic. We're going down the rabbit hole.
Oh, where I land, I do not know. But here I fall down the rabbit's hole.
Mo says, off topic, 2 egg layers is needed for about a dozen eggs. No roaster is needed, right? I don't know what you're asking. You're asking, are you asking me a farm question? Are you asking me a bird question here? 2 egg layers is needed for about a dozen eggs. No rooster is needed, right? You don't need a rooster unless you want babies. If you have a chicken, chickens are going to lay the egg regardless if the rooster is there. Okay? The rooster is just fertilizing the egg. Okay? Chickens lay eggs. Okay? So the chicken will lay the egg. So if you have 2 chickens, right? If you have 2 chickens, they're going to lay, on average, an egg a day, right? One might miss a day or whatever. So if you have 2 eggs or 2 chickens, then yes, you'll get 2 eggs a day. So says optimized cloud gaming box. Yeah, like Roku Fire Stick. That's what we're talking about. Sarge says, bro, the hardware factories are completely robotic. PC components are made by machines, not man. How much cheaper can they make them if they're even humans involved? I don't think they're going to bring the price down like that. Didn't the Keystone turn into Amazon Fire Stick partnership? No, the Keystone's the Keystone. They teamed up with Amazon Fire Stick to put Game Pass on those devices. How many birds do I need to get to a dozen every week? Well, you would have to have 12. Well, if you wanted a dozen eggs, then you have to have 2. You might get 11. You might get 12. You might get 13. Every week, 2 should be enough for a dozen. Yes. Roughly. Yeah. The rooster's life sounds awful. Let me tell you something, Crowded. You have to have usually 1 rooster per 100 birds, right? Just to say. Right? So if you have a rooster, and if you ever watch animals, right? If you ever watch animals, the chickens, they want, like, right? They want, so what they'll do is they'll come over to the rooster and they'll peck them, right? They'll peck them. So if you ever go to a farm and you see a rooster, but his ass is bare, is because the chickens come up behind him, the little hens, and they'll pick at it and rip out the feathers because they're like, hey, I'm right, and he's like, oh, okay, and so yeah, he's exhausted. Let's say he's exhausted. Sarge says, Keystone, so smooth. Yeah, roosters are assholes. They're the assholes of the chicken life. You'll be able to pay as you go for consoles. I mean, look at PlayStation. PlayStation, you can rent to own, basically. Actually, you can rent to rent because you'll never own because they just keep. But yeah, they've been doing that for a while, right? It's going to be very interesting to see what happens. I'll be honest, because Xbox, and again, I don't know how dire they are. Right? We have another story here about Microsoft hasn't ruled off spinning off Xbox in its own entity. We'll read that in a second. Okay. I don't know how far off Microsoft is, because just at a standalone thing, you don't think it's that bad. But now that when you hear stuff like this, if they can't get the prices down, nobody is going to buy this box. If there's 1 million people that buy the box at $1,200, that's not going to save the business. The reason that this works, you have to get the box cheap. Hence why 5 years in the cycle, you shouldn't raise the price $200. You should lower it by $200. Okay? If you can't get the person to have the box to play the games, then there's no reason to get the games, right? If I can't afford the box to play the games, then what happens? It starts to crumble, because if the box is too expensive, then people don't buy the box to play the games, and now the games are too expensive, right? We said this last week, right? With Wolverine and E-Day, right? Someone posted and said, I'm not paying $900 or $800 for E-Day, right? $800 means Xbox Series S or X, sorry, with the E-Day, right? So you're talking about $870. They're like, I'm not buying that for this one game. Someone replied and said, I'm not buying this for $980, which was the box plus Wolverine. When the box is super expensive, no one's going to buy the box to play the actual games. Why do you think Steam's so profitable? They're not selling anything. You bought your computer, you downloaded Steam. Steam has nothing to do with the actual hardware that you buy. Okay? Now they're making their own box, which is going to come out and be expensive, but they've have no cost. You bought your PC, you downloaded Steam. They have a huge thing of games to play. Well, Xbox tried to do that for the consoles. But the problem is there's two other people there already there established. They couldn't break into the market. So like, all right, well, now we'll do PC stuff, and we'll go to PC and we'll do all this stuff. They never knew what they wanted to do. If the console is too expensive, then you're killing yourself. Remember the Atari Jaguar? Why did it stop being made? It's too expensive. Then you have Sega. Sega came too late to the party. Sega made the Sega Dreamcast, right? And they tried to undercut everybody, right? They tried to undercut everybody, $99, okay? But not enough people bought into the console. So they were like, hey, yeah, we'll make it, and we'll have an influx of people buy it, and then we'll make it. No, it didn't work that way because PlayStation 2 or whatever, right, was dominating the market. They're like, no, I don't need this. Why do I need this? They had less games. Better games, I'll be honest with you. Okay? But they had less games. So they were like, nah, I don't feel like doing that all over again. And they couldn't do it. Well, Xbox came in, right, shortly after that, made the Xbox, and they were good up until they weren't, because they weren't making games anymore. So they stopped making exclusives. Then they were just the same old guy. Yeah, Dreamcast, $99. It was crazy. Okay? They undercut $20. Remember $20 football game? Right? They tried to undercut Madden. Madden didn't like that, so that's why they got the exclusive. They're like, I don't think it launched at 99, but they lowered it to 99 because they wanted to market it. They wanted to get it out there. Kraz says, assholes, that's how they get all the women. Yeah, that's how it is, you know. They're going the cell phone route. Yeah. The cell phone, they subsidize the cell phone so they can get you on, so you can pay a monthly fee and you get all the apps and all the other things. Scotland is facing Morocco this Friday in the World Cup. Past Saturday, they beat Haiti in Boston. Oh, nice. I forgot that the World Cup started June 11th. I got to start watching games. Sarge says, but they didn't even want the box, bro. They just wanted you to buy software. You have a box, you can't play that. You can play the games, right? But Xbox, you don't need the box to play the games because everything, even though the marketing's gone, everything's an Xbox. Is this the first console generation that had a price hike? Yes. Let's see here. Jesse Mack says, make a problem. Solve the solution. That's right. Just enough says, I got my user for $80 with 2 controllers. My first console purchase. Oh, you got it used. Nice. Sarah says, don't go to the bar, save $50. $50 every week, $200 a month, $2,400 at the end of the year. Boom, new PC. PS5 says Dreamcast is $999, $199.99. Yeah, when it first came out. But when they were on there, they lowered it to $99, right? Because they were trying to go, hey, we're $99. You can't beat this. But people were already too far along in their libraries and stuff like that. Yeah, it didn't launch at 99. Waterbear says Dreamcast was awesome. Just didn't have the third-party backing they needed. Yeah, it was. I mean, do I have it here? I think it's in a box in my other room. All right, let's go to the third story, which is Microsoft hasn't ruled off spinning off Xbox as its own entity. Again, it's claimed. If you guys like what I do, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. Oh, it's funny. The other day, real quick, I was doing a video. I forget what it was. And somebody told me in my comment section that I needed to slow down speaking. And I was like, okay. So I listened to the video that they were doing. And I was like, I don't understand. I think the person that was listening to me was listening at like 1.5 or 2.5 or 2 point speed, because I was like, if I talked any slower, I think it would be insulting, because I would think you're an idiot. Be like, Microsoft has ruled off spinning off the Xbox as its own entity. Are you with me, chat? Are you listening? Okay. Right? Like, I don't understand what they were talking about. I do speak fast, but there's also time, like, as I'm talking right now, this is my normal speed of speaking. If I went slower, I think that would be insult your intelligence. Sarge says, that's your problem. You still believe that Sony isn't going to make it on PC because they want you in console. But remember, they can't sell enough games because enough people have the console. That's correct. They're about 40 million, about 20 million short of what they were at the same time frame. People are also not buying games on Xbox or on Sony. That was a stat, right? They've only sold 32 million total first-party title games last year, which is way down. But that goes across all platforms, I'll be honest. All right. Microsoft hasn't ruled off spinning off Xbox into its own thing. Another new report has shed some light on the future of Xbox. Xbox is in time of change. Asha Sharma took over the CEO of the brand following Phil Spencer's retirement and Sarah Bond's subsequent resignation. There's also a wave of positive momentum in Sharma's first few months of CEO. She's been receptive to the fan feedback and openly discussed her version of the brand's future. However, the reality of recent difficulties and beginning to weigh in on her as her faces through decisions. Recently, she revealed that the restructuring is underway and the brand will lay off employees in July. Now, a new report exposes more of what may lie ahead of Xbox. I'm wondering how many people are going to be let go in July. Now, remember, Microsoft hired 30,000 employees between 2019 and like 2021. 30,000 employees. Okay. They've since then released, I think, 12,000, 14,000 people. Okay. Since that time. Meaning they still have about 15,000, maybe even 17,000 employees still there from when they hired the 30,000 employees, roughly. Okay. It says Halo, Fallout, Elder Scrolls games in the works at Xbox. I'm sorry, Xbox. You gotta scream it because it's all caps. Xbox is written now like Mo talks. See, Mo sounds like Dreamcast guy. Okay, all caps. A recent report of information indicates that Microsoft is considering spinning off and restructuring the Xbox division into a wholly owned subsidiary. The move should facilitate an easier potential sale and lead to the creation of the joint venture with external partners. And the news related to the gaming side of Xbox, the brand will be then moving faster to develop new games from top franchises, including Halo, Fallout, Elder Scrolls. The two Bethesda properties are said to be as big areas of focus for Sharma. Okay, let's take this and break this down a little bit. Okay, this move could facilitate an easier potential sale or lead to a creation of joint venture with external partners. In the news related to gaming side of Xbox, the brand will then be moving faster to develop new games from top franchises. How are they going to do it faster? Elder Scrolls 6 was announced 8 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago. Okay. They're not in active development of Fallout. So how are you going to make this faster? Are you going to rush it? Are you going to put it out like Obsidian's doing with Grounded 1 and 2? Where you put it out in like preview program on Xbox before it's ready? I don't know. It says, additionally, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella and Chief Financial Officer Amy Hood, who are the two culprits of why Xbox is suffering, by the way, have approved of Sharma's plan to spend more on top-tier games in the coming fiscal year beginning in July. Although the budget is not yet locked in, it could change. Also, those same executives haven't rolled out the restructuring of Xbox's relationship with Microsoft. That potential restructuring is making Gaming Green brand a more successful business. Those potential ideas include aforementioned possible spinoff. Okay. So, what do you guys think, chat? What do you guys think they can do? A spinoff. It's not going to speed up the time of when these games get made. Again, you need games for your console. If you have no game, like right now, they're making games for this console, right? Helix is supposed to come out in 2027, 2028. Let's just say you started working on a game right now. It takes 3 to 5 years, sometimes 5 to 7 years now to make the big AAA games. If Helix comes out 2 years from now, That means the next first-party title game that's created for Helix is not coming out until 5 years into the cycle of Helix. Which by that time, they're already talking about the next console that would be coming out, the Helix 2 in 2045, right? You see what I'm saying? Like, it takes so long for them that you have to start planning games and stuff ahead of time before the thing comes out. This is what Sarge says all the time. Like, why do we need a new console? Right? The Xbox 360 was around for 11 years. The Xbox One, okay, the Xbox One came out in 2013. We are 12 years, 13 years into the Xbox One now. Right? Why do we need Helix when you still have the Xbox Series S and X right now? Why do we need the next console? For what? You got plenty of games that you can play right now. Okay? Right now. That are not even out. We're 6 years into this cycle. We're still waiting for games. We're still waiting for first-party title games, right? Not exclusive. I'm just saying there's studios that they were making games, coming out and making actual games. When's Skyrim? Well, I'm sorry, Elder Scrolls 6 coming out? 2 more years from now. So what? 8 years into the cycle of the console. It was announced when the console launched. So what are they going to do? It's like something is, they're so baffled. They're like, well, how do we sell consoles? Well, you need to make games. So the games you're making right now, why do I need to buy the $4,000 box that comes out? Right? I'm being exaggeration, right? Why do I need the new box when I can play the games in the old box? Make it make sense. Sarge says you're missing it out because you didn't play Astrobot. Eventually, PC will get Ghost of Yote. Perhaps. And if it doesn't, guess what? It's not going to sell as many as it did before. Just enough says they might port Yote, but they won't port Astrobot. Source, trust me, bro. They don't want you to play Astrobot without the DS5 controller. Can't you use the controller on your PC? No, or doesn't it have it doesn't have the same functionality? Let's see. Jesse Max says, Sarge, now PlayStation's making a 27-inch gaming monitor. Oh, wow. How much does that cost? Spin off what? Big Daddy Microsoft can't afford to have an Xbox gaming division. Then how the hell would they also service off their own? Make it make sense. Just Enough says they should sell a spinoff. Microsoft culture and the business strategy doesn't align with Xbox. Waterbear says, just release it broken and buggy in the most of the games of these days, especially AAA titles. 5 years from now, at easy, bro, just started Elder Scrolls 6. Even if they're 2 years in. Even if they're 2 years in. We still have 3 more years. So what? We're talking 2030? Yeah, you're looking at 2031 at least. Clip says you make it have the functionality. There's a way. There's ways. You really got me thinking Xbox is beyond saving at this point. I mean, I think what they should do is push more towards this console, right? Same with Why do you need a PlayStation 6? Let's be honest, right? Why do you need a PlayStation 6 and why do you need an Xbox Helix? Why do we need those new consoles when the consoles that you have right now are not even maxed out? Why do you need these things? Plus, they just raised the price of these consoles. It doesn't make sense, okay? You're not going to sell these consoles. Their plan is people like things new, okay? My wife loves buying, if it says new on the package, she buys it, okay? They know this, okay? But the problem is more males play video games than women or buy big purchase items like this, okay? It is. It's what it is. People can fight me on this or whatever you want. More men play video games than women, okay? Women play video games, but more men play video games, okay? The guys that buy the video games are not going to spend more money on the thing that they can do the exact same thing as their cheaper version. Okay. Why do I need a PlayStation 6? Why do I need a Xbox Helix? Why? Right? 5 years in the cycle, usually the game prices come down or game consoles come down, which then opens up the market to more people because the people that want to play video games can't afford a $500 system. And if they can't afford a $500 system, what makes you think they're going to afford a $700, $800, $900 system? Which, if the new systems come out for PlayStation 6 and the Xbox Helix, why would they afford a $1,200 system? The keeping up with the Joneses will always buy the next latest, greatest thing. But what is that box going to do? Forcing the people to come from the last console to this console. Again, 48% of Xbox, 58% of PlayStation haven't moved over from the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. Why are they coming over here? And now that they come over here, now you're telling them they have to pay more money and just don't buy this one. Wait for the next one to come out and pay $1,200. It doesn't make sense. You can sell records for 10 cents, but if I don't have a record player because the record player costs $4,000, guess what? No one's buying the records. Just Enough says there's ways to make the DS5 work, but you can't sell a game on PC and force people to use a certain controller. No, but why would that be forcing them, though? Why don't they sell both of them then? If you're gonna force them, just be like, hey, you want to buy Astrobot for PC? It comes with a controller. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Well, you don't have to force someone to play. They could just play Astrobot, but if they want you to play Astrobot because they want you to use the controller, well, then I guess you have to market it with the controller then. Cesar says, how would they survive on their own? Easy, massive layoffs and only focus on big IPs. It won't be pretty, but it would probably work. I don't think it would. Even if they focus on the IPs, how many IPs are you going to be making for the cycle of the console? Right? They have 28 studios. I think they have 28 studios, right? Xbox has 28 studios. 28 studios, and the average game is made in 5 to 7 years now. That's the problem. Games need to be 2 to 3 years again. And right now, if games are 2 or 3, they start working on them now to get the new console. And when the new console comes out, it can't be backwards compatible. It can't play the old games. Like all the games have to work on the new console, not the old console. Otherwise, people won't leave the old console. But if you're forcing people to pay $1,200 for the new console, well, that's gonna be a hard sell. Sarge says Xbox gaming is bloated. It has been bloated, too many hands in the pockets, 19,000 games a year of release. If they can't figure out this, they less than a burn in the ground. Gaming isn't going anywhere. Yeah, if Xbox closes and closes shop, guess what? Gamers just move to Steam. Gamers just go to Apple. Gamers just go to PlayStation. Gamers just go to Nintendo. Saint says, not sure why, but PlayStation 6 right now. But I bought the OS 5 because my PlayStation 4 sounded like a drone. El Nini says it's a perception game, 30. Yeah, but the perception is shattered by reality, which is the money. Ah, yes, but the iPhone, perfect example. I got a brand new iPhone when I was in DC because my phone broke. Okay. I didn't pay for this. I traded in my old phone for the new phone, right? It's subsidized. It's subsidized through your provider. You're not paying the full price of the phone. The full price of the phone is like $1,000, right? It's not the same. Crowd says most people already bought a PlayStation 5 over the Xbox Series X, and now all the prices went up. They aren't going to get enough people to buy an Xbox now. They are $800. But that goes either way, right? If a person, the people that are going to buy a PlayStation and an Xbox and a Nintendo are the few and the far, right? We're the minority. We're the keeping up with the Joneses, right? I've owned every single console, every single made, except for the PlayStation 5. Why? Because I didn't need to buy the PlayStation 5. One, it was out of stock. But I don't need to buy one now because most of the games I play are third party. And why do I need to go buy the PlayStation? I don't really care about the first party titles. Same with the Xbox, right? If people have a PlayStation, like, I don't really care. And most of those games are coming to PC, right? I own a PC. So if I want to play the PlayStation games, I can play them on PC if I really wanted to. The ones that came out. I don't really need to buy $900. It works both ways. It's the price of the console is too expensive. It used to be a cheap thing for people to play, and now it's an expensive thing for people to play. They're not going to buy it, regardless of whatever brand it is. El Dente says Xbox is slowly turning into Dreamcast. Yeah. And what happened? Dreamcast goes bye-bye. And do we all die off? No, we kept on gaming. We just moved to the next thing. Sarge said, you guys think that the most profitable sector in the economy is going somewhere if Xbox closes shop? Yeah. If Xbox is gone, Xbox is gone. I will not shed a tear. Just go play another game somewhere else. They shut down, and guess what? I can play that system until it dies, meaning I have another 4 or 5 years after it's done. Crowd says, I guess what I'm saying is that if it is too late for exclusives now, they should have done it this long ago. Right, but in that process, what they're doing is they have to do something, right? So she's picking 2 games. She's picking the 2 exclusives of E-Day and Clockwork, okay? And she's like, well, we got to start somewhere, right? So they're starting. But the problem is exclusives take so long to make. If their games are in process right now and they're making them for all the consoles, she's got to take them away now, right? She wanted to take away other games, but they wouldn't let her because of contracts, right? If Fable's under contract now, and that's why it can't be exclusive, I would pull it. I would say, no, Fable's exclusive for, right? You can only play it over on this side. But they don't want to do that because they're like, well, it's an expensive game. We got to make our money back, right? If it's $250 million, $300 million, they got to make their money back. But they have to start somewhere. But is it going to last? This is why I brought up Dreamcast before, right? Dreamcast was $199 when it came out, but it dropped to $99. They were doing a Hail Mary. They're like, can we get enough people to buy the $99 Dreamcast? Can we make enough money from $20 NFL 2K, right, to beat Madden? They couldn't. They took a risk, and they ate it, and they went bankrupt. Xbox feels like Dreamcast right now. Is this dead? No. They have to start somewhere. They have to try. You know what I love about this statement that you're doing here, El Nini? Right? Sarge is saying that it'll come there, and you're like, well, I'm still waiting for the date. No one has officially said that they've stopped making games for PC. But here's the thing. This is how you'll move the goalpost, right? Because when Yote does come to PC, you'll be like, well, it came 2 years after. Well, it came, right? And that's how the goalposts will move. Here's a reality fact check that Yote hasn't sold as much as Tsushima. As far as Yote is good and people like the game, has not come even close. It's about $1.5 million to $2 million behind what Yote was at the exact same time. Right? I'm not saying 2 years. What I'm saying is if and when it does come out, be like, well, it took 2 years. Well, it took 3 years, right? That's the moving the goalpost. It's like, well, I'm still waiting for the Yote release. Okay, well, if it happens or it doesn't happen, if it does happen, you'd be like, well, it took them 18 months. Well, it took them 2 years. Spider-Man 2 only took months, took 14 months. 14 months. Not months. 14 months. I don't know if you know this. I'd say over a year. And that was the fastest one that it came out. Yote came out in October. So it hasn't even been out a year yet. Saint says, I like independent third-party devs. They used to try the hardest. I mean, we started the show off with me talking about Legends of California, right? They're only making their game for PC, right? They're only making the game for PC. War Dogs right now is only on for PC, right? They want to get out to other platforms, but right now it's only for PC, right? And they said, we don't care if we get, obviously, right? I don't know where the budget is, but they said, we don't need 100,000 concurrent players playing. We're okay if we have 10,000 concurrent players playing. They know what they want. They're their own independent company, right? They have a deal, whatever the publisher are doing it, and they know what they can make. That is the problem with video games now. They don't know. They just make stuff. $400 million potential Gears of War E-Day, right? That's insane, right? The smaller companies know what they have because they're just making that game. They're just making that game and just trying to get a clientele for that game. They're not trying to make the billions of dollars, right? They're not trying to put the cart before the horse. They're just trying to make a game. Jesse Mack says, we're almost in the life cycle of Xbox and PlayStation consoles. How many games they are making to end until they release new ones? They can't wait enough for the new consoles, just what to get the prices rise. Sarge says, because they need to make their money back. Yeah. Right? Like, going back to what El Nini says, right? Because they haven't announced Yote or anything yet. Remember way back when, 5 years ago, when they said PlayStation was never going to PC, and then it did? Right? And then it was only that one game. Right? Then it was 2 games. Then it was 4 games. Then it was 8 games. Right? Remember when Phil Spencer was like, oh, it was only 4 games going to PlayStation. Then it was more than 4 games. Right? It's always crazy to me that everyone's like, it's never going to happen. This is never going to happen. Right? And then it does happen. And then everyone keeps saying, well, it's only those games. Well, it's only games that have been out for 3 years. It's only been games, well, that's an old game. Right? No one cares about that game. It just constantly moves. The goalposts constantly move. Well, it's only this. They all do the same thing. They all say they're not going to do something until the money talks, and then they do something. You want me to move the goalpost? All right, I'll move the goalpost. Well, we'll have to move it over here. Oh, it's falling apart. All right, goalpost move. El Nina says, brother, why not go full date and date when they want to make money, right? You know why. Look at what it causes. What do we talk about, El Nini? Right? If you go full date and date, it devalues what it is. I've been on record saying I like Sony's business model as far as, right? I play games on Xbox, okay, because that's the system I own, right? Day and date on Game Pass, fine, right? Day and date on PC, fine. Day and date on other platforms, that's a problem if it's not live service because it diminishes your clientele. Your clientele's like, well, why am I buying this box if you're going to put this game on this console day and date? Right? Sony has always done their first-party titles and then put them on PC. Xbox has put their titles on Xbox and PC right away. That's their choice. But what happened? People were like, well, it devalues the thing. I'm not going to complain. I'm playing the games day and date. Cool. Okay, that's what they wanted. I'm not going to. That's what they do. That's what they do. Right? But that's why they don't do day and date. Because the first party titles get eaten. Because they're not making money. Right? Grand Theft Auto slowly puts it on console over the years. And then they put it on PC. It's like a double dip. Right? Destiny even did that. Destiny had it on the console, and then they put it on Steam, and it was like a double dip. Right? They make more money in the long run. But not all games make it that way. Live service games are different because they can keep making money. Single-player games, people buy it, play it, put it down. Well, if I get it down the road, they're like, I'll just wait for it to come to PC, and I'll buy it when I want to buy it. People that want to buy it, they sell 2 million copies of Spider-Man on PC. That's 2 million more people that would buy it. Legendary BK1 says GTA is overrated. Might be. It's still going to be the number 1 best-selling game of all time. Overrated or not. Eclipse says, did you see Mecha Camelot hit all-time peak of 130 hours an hour ago? Love to see Indies kill. No, I didn't know that. I didn't see that. Ron says, so basically, or not so basically, he said, basically, PC is the safest gaming platform moving forward. Yes, because if you buy a PC, you're buying it for more than just gaming, right? You can buy a gaming PC, but if you buy a PC, it does more than gaming, right? I guess you could say that for the console as well, but you're really not using your console to watch like YouTube and emails and surfing the web. You know what I mean? It's not built for that. You could watch YouTube on it. Like I use my television set where I'll use the YouTube app on there and watch it, but I'm not really watching it for that. I'm using it to use it as a gaming screen, right? Usually I watch it on my phone or I watch it on the PC. Sarge says overrated, but the most successful piece of entertainment of all time. That's right. Ron Slusher says Mind's Eye is underrated. No, it's rated right where it's supposed to be, Ron. Yeah, but who are you arguing with? Who's this argument for, Legendary? So I don't care about success. I care about playing good games, and GTA is boring. Okay, great. So why do you care so much about GTA? You brought up GTA. No one else brought up GTA. Right? You're like, oh, it's overrated. I brought it up for sales. Right? If you don't want to play it, don't play it. See how simple that is? Very simple, isn't it? Just Enough says, do more email checking and a bill on my gaming PC. Actual games. But it's there if you want to play it. I did bring it up because of the context that we're talking in, Legendary, but you said it's overrated and it's boring. You like good games. Okay. So then buy a game that you want to play. Why do you care about GTA? I mean, obviously it's not overrated. If it was overrated, then it wouldn't sell as much. But it sells a lot. So it's not overrated. It's something overrated for you because you don't like it, which is understandable as well. Both things can be true. Crowd says, hating GTA makes me feel seen. All right, well, then that's fine. Now, see, wouldn't that have worked better if you said that first? See, up here when you said GT is overrated, and down here where you said it's overrated to me, that's all, it would have been nicer if you just said, I think GT is overrated. That's all. I agree, and I'm a person that I play open world survival games, and some people look at those games and they're bored out of their fucking mind. But for me, I like them, right? Other people look at JRPGs and go, that's fucking boring. Other people love them, right? Some people like movie games. Some people don't. Cisco says, I don't think GTA is overrated, but I prefer to play Fable. I would think GTA is in a factor now of like Call of Duty, right? I don't like Call of Duty because Call of Duty has changed completely from what it was when it first came out to what it is today, right? It lost me as a gamer back in 2009. Modern Warfare 2 was peak Call of Duty for me, right? Ever since then, I've never liked Call of Duty. Never bought a Call of Duty. They lost me as a Call of Duty guy. Haven't purchased one Call of Duty since 2009. Okay, played two of them for a couple of hours the last since 2009 when they came up to Game Pass, right? Other than that, never touch them, okay? But to a point, someone could say, I hate Call of Duty, and it's overrated, but it still sells. It's the best-selling game for 12 of the 15 years. So me saying it's overrated would be full of shit because obviously it's not overrated. And then it becomes a point of, well, it's cool to hate it. Do you know what I mean? But yet, it's still the number one selling thing. That's what Grand Theft Auto did. Grand Theft Auto, in my opinion, built up the clientele. And then I got to that point of, I would say GTA 5, when it launched, people loved it. But then it's been here for 13 years, right? It's been here for 13 years, and people are like, I'm just fucking tired of it. I'm tired of talking about it. I'm tired of seeing the online stuff. It peaked, I want to say, like 2016. And that's when everyone's like, nah, I hate Grand Theft Auto, right? I don't give a shit about Grand Theft Auto, right? And that's the masses. Now, obviously, there'll be individuals that type in the chat, I've always hated it, which is fine, okay? But what I'm saying is there's people that saying that they don't like it, it's overrated, but yet it's still going to go sell the most copies ever, right? Most pre-orders, most day one, most week one, most month one, it's going to make its money back. And then the industry is going to look at it and go, holy Christ, that's what we want. And they're going to try to make games like that. Jesse Mack says GTA 4 was peak for the time. It's better than GTA 5. I kind of like the three protagonists in GTA 5. I didn't really care much about the online aspect afterwards. Eclipse says, yeah, I just wanted to know how they're going to keep you in the world because there are hard of people talking about the game. And apparently you can't just steal cards randomly anymore. You can't steal cards? Cars or cards? Cars. Okay. You can't steal cars randomly anymore. What do you mean? Like in the actual game or online? It's supposed to be like your horse in Red Dead Redemption. Interesting. Ron, I don't know if you're being facetious or not because you joke around a lot. I actually loved Saints Row 1. I thought Saints Row 1 was so refreshing. Just Enough says, I'm over GTA. I wouldn't call it overrated. COD's overrated. COD is overrated, but it still sells the most copies every year for 12 of the last 15 years. What we got? Battlefield 6 beat it. Hogwarts Legacy beat it. And there was one other game that beat it. Was it Red Dead Redemption? I think it was Red Dead Redemption 2. Right? I think that's the only 3 games that beat Call of Duty in the last 15 years. Are we switching it to Astrobot now? Before it was Yote, now it's Astrobot. Should I move the goalpost back? Hogwarts is one. Yeah, Hogwarts, Battlefield 6, and I think it was Red Dead Redemption 2. I feel Saints Row became a parody of itself. Yeah, what was it, 3? What was after 3? When was the sparkly dildos inside of Saints Row? Was that 3 or 4? That's when Saints Row was like, okay. Yeah, what is the stipulation? What if, right? Because Sarge is saying ever, you won't come to PC ever? That's what you want? My question is, what if PC has their own launcher, or I'm sorry, PlayStation has their own launcher on PC? You would lose, right? Because then you would just be able to launch stuff on the PC PlayStation launcher app. Right? because that's also been a thing where they said that they're making it their own launcher. And we can put that just as far up there as they're backing down off PC, because none of these things have been proven. What's the third one, Jesse? Saints Row had the long purple sticks. Yeah, they were sparkly dildos. That's what they were. Let's call them what they were. Let's call them what they were. Well, that's a stupid bet. That's a stupid bet because obviously, even if that would be the fastest it's ever came to PC. The fastest one right now has been Spider-Man, which is 14 months. And I would never do a times table because you're saying, because the last one it took what? I think it was like 28 months for another game to come on. And Astrobot is a PlayStation title like Halo. So I don't see Astrobot coming. Yote I see coming. But wouldn't it be funny if they had their PlayStation that people were talking about months and months ago, where they have their own platform, their own launcher on PC? Because that means all the games would come then. Oh, did you guys see this? Let me bring this up. Is that a better one? Nah, I hate Polygon. Let me see if there's a better. I'm trying to get this other story up here, guys. Come on, open up. No, doesn't want to open. All right. Let's go here. VGC. Electronic Arts launches EA's advertising, which says it will add brands into games in a non-disruptive way. Brands will be able to work with EA on its in-game content challenges and ads. So obviously, in FIFA games, there have always been advertisements across the boards, like any soccer match. Okay, Electronic Arts has announced at launch EA. Okay, EA advertising new platform design will let brands integrate directly into gameplay through dynamic real-time placements from stadium signage to customize in-game content designed to enhance, not disrupt, the player's experience. How does an ad enhance my experience in any way? Anybody? How does that enhance, as a gamer, my experience? Be like, man, I'm so glad they advertise shoes for me. What a convenience. Right? According to EA, brands will be able to implement advertising campaigns in games and update or optimize them based on aggregated insights from players' engagement. Right? The publishers offering brand partnership and gameplay integration, which will let brands and agencies appear in players' games in the form of in-game challenges, reward-driven objectives, and brand content. Oh, fantastic. So as I'm playing, I'll be like, toss for 50 yards, you get the Nike achievement. It's like, no, I'm good. I mean, they did that in EA for the golf games, right? You get sponsored by certain guys inside the game. Okay. It says EA has also says that's new proprietary ad server and SDK as part of the Frostbite engine, which lets advertisers collaborate with EA in a privacy safe way to improve targeting and gain deeper campaign insights. A select group of official partners will also form a EA Sports Partner Program, which existing examples include Visa, which is partnering with EA Sports FC and EA Sports College Football to develop immersive participatory experiences. Lowe's, which also had Ultimate Team contact at EA Sports FC, Madden NFL, college football, including challenges and branded player content. EA says more than 200,000 of these challenges were completed. Red Bull had branded in-game objective in the team kits of EA Sports FC, driving more than 128 million matches played and 1.2 million objectives completed. Xfinity and Peacock had a stadium in broadcast style integration, custom vanity kits, ultimate team packs, and personalized rewards in EA Sports FC. And Mountain Dew had Dew University, a EA Sports College Football 26, a fully playable team experience complete with stadium customization, mascot, and reward ecosystem. Okay. It says players come to EA games to live experiences every day to play, watch, create, and connect. EA Chief Experience Officer Dave Tyson said in a statement, he said, quote, "This gives players a meaningful opportunity to show up in ways that add value to respect the player's experience while maintaining authenticity in the worlds our teams are building. With EA advertising, are helping brands become part of the moments in ways relevant to built for players." I am 100% okay with this in a sports game if you're advertising in the stadiums and stuff like that. Have no problem with that. They do that right now in sporting events. I'm okay with even billboards in a racing game because that's what it is on a racing track. What I'm not okay with is I'm swinging around New York City in Spider-Man 1 or 2, and then all of a sudden the boards are changing with actual ads that are coming. So as I go by, I see like a fucking Burger King or whatever, because that breaks my immersion from that because those don't exist in that world. Do you know what I mean? So I have a problem if they start doing this in non-sports games. Do you know what I mean? Like if I'm playing what I just played, the Legend of California, and I click on a thing and it says, Visa wants you to, it's a Visa challenge. Go to San Bernardino, California and kill five eliminations of Outlanders. And you're like, that's immersion breaking. Okay. Sports games, boxing, any sport game, fine. You want to put in the hockey game, so I really don't have a problem. I really don't have a problem with this because they've done it in the past. I'll be honest with you. They've already done this in the past, but they didn't change. They had an advertisement with Visa or they had an advertisement with a brand, and they just put the brand inside the stadium, and that's how it's sold. That's how it was. But now they can just constantly change it. I don't know. I don't know how that makes my experience better as a player. I know how that makes their experience better. I think it's my time to stop talking. My voice is going here. Mr. Luke says they had them in the game, but rewards were shit and only did them for the season pass. Was it more engaging for you? If it was a regular mission, would you have done it? But because Visa was sponsored it, did it make you do it more? Get rid of EA executive license, no more football exclusives, allow the game to have competition. Saint says those companies need to disclose if they are sponsored, just like YouTube. Well, here's what I would do. If I bought one of these games, I would just unplug and just play the single-player game. I don't want to play online. Not at all. I cared less. Yeah. When someone posts their PC online, like they put pictures on Twitter, I'm looking at that going, you just paid 4 times more for that RAM. Yeah. for that RAM inside your computer. I look at that and go, ooh, that hurts. Hell, I went to Costco this past weekend, and they had the PCs that were selling that used to be $1,400. It was like $1,499. I think the top one was $1,800. Now it's the low one's $1,800, almost $1,900, and the other one that was $1,800 is now $2,400. I think it is. My problem with that is I don't want brands that are in real world, El Dente, because Spider-Man might take place now with like brand new day and stuff like that. It takes place in like our reality, but the comic book didn't take place in our reality. You know what I mean? So I don't want to see real advertisements. If they want to make advertisements, sort of like what Grand Theft Auto used to do back in the day with their own, chicken places and burger places. Like, I'm okay if they advertise like that stuff. I don't want to play Grand Theft Auto and see Burger King and McDonald's and, drug commercials and stuff like that. Like, especially if they're integrating on what you are. So, like, I drive around Grand Theft Auto, right? I know it's EA, but I'm driving around Grand Theft Auto, the most overrated game. And as I'm driving through the city, okay, I'm seeing like, old man advertisements because I'm 48. Okay. And all of a sudden I have eye vision problems. So I see a vision care up on my board as I'm driving through, where you're driving and you're younger and you see something else. Like, I don't want any of that shit in my games, man. I don't want that. So for Madden, you can do special challenges to earn special player cards for my team. So there's value there that isn't intrusive. Yeah, but couldn't they just do that without the advertisement of Visa? Let's be honest here. Is Madden not making enough money from the game and the Madden cards and the Ultimate Team and all the other stuff? They have to now charge an advertiser in the game to be intrusive into my game? Couldn't they get the special players just by doing a special thing without the advertisement of Visa? So I'll have a Red Bull version of Tom Brady, for example. See, now you're being intrusive to me, because let's say you have the Red Bull Tom Brady. Do I see, if I play you, your Tom Brady Red Bull? Does he show differently up on the field? Saint says GTA has radio commercials for Ozempic. Could be real. Yeah. You know what I mean? Does it show me, like, for instance, right now, if I play Call of Duty, right, and I see Nicki Minaj on the battlefield, that's disrupting my gameplay. Do you know what I mean? Like, if I want to play and I don't want to see, we talked about this months, maybe over a year ago. I said they'll start charging you so you don't see people's skins, right? You buy the skin for $10, but then I pay $10 to not see your skins. Do you know what I mean? Be like, do you not want to see skins? Pay $10 and you don't see anybody else's skins. Like, it's breaking my immersion because I see a donkey and Beavis and Butthead and someone else running across the battlefield. That's advertisement on their side. They're making money on their side, but it's ruining my experience. Yes, EA games are full of FOMO. And that's what I don't understand. Are they not making as much money? They put a new soccer game on, I don't even know what it's called. It was on Game Pass the other day. And it's just it's a online soccer game. But they're constantly giving you, it's like the Ultimate Team, basically. So I'm assuming there's a lot of microtransactions in it, but it's on Game Pass, right? I was like, yeah, no, I'm good. I just want a single player soccer game to play. I don't want to play online. I don't want to do Ultimate Teams. I don't want to do anything. I want to use the real players as is and just play like I did old sports games back in the day. My Red Bull Tom Brady has an ultimate stamina. Yeah, that wouldn't be game breaking. Not made as much as when they were also FIFA rights. Well, yeah. Isn't there a new soccer game coming out that's also FIFA? Maybe that's the soccer game that came out on Game Pass. I'm not even sure. That's the game, right? I think that's the game. Is it called Striker? I think that's the game. Here, let me turn it on real fast. Yeah, I tried it out the other day. It is... What the hell is it? Oh, it's called Goals. That's what this is. This one's called Goals. Fast, responsive football game built for pure skill, real competition, global community gameplay. It's a free-to-play, cross-play, unique players, no exclusives, just football. I don't know if there's actual like microtransactions or not in it, but it's a play-to-free game, so I would assume. Goals with KSI? Okay. No name player. Gotcha. I played it. It wasn't bad. I played like one match. I was like, nah, I'm good. I played like the tutorial. Well, no, it's AI and then it kicks into online matches, doesn't it? For goals? Yeah, I was thinking about buying it or about playing it, but it's also FIFA Ultimate Team. You can buy points to buy cards. Yeah, you like get these currency and then you buy the cards and stuff like that. AI player names. So wait. Can you play a season in the game? I think you can only play online though. You have to play online. You can't play like a season within the game itself against AI players, can you? You're saying not real players, not real actual soccer players. I understand what you're saying. Yeah, I'm just talking about playing. Like I want to play with real teams, real players, and just play a normal season like I'm going for the World Cup. I don't want to play online. I don't want to play against anybody. You can just play AI? Okay. Do they have seasons and stuff or no? No, somebody else got the rights, El Nini. We did a story. Oh God. There's someone that has. Hold on. Interactive and Ember. Following their split with EA, FIFA has expanded its digital football ecosystem with Delphia Interactive and Ember, currently making official games. FIFA World Cup Launch Edition, developer by Delphi Interactive, is in a partnership with Netflix. That's it. Netflix partnership is streamlined, mobile-focused soccer similar to allows you to play using your smartphone as a controller and exclusive to Netflix games. FIFA Heroes, a free-to-play mobile arcade title developed by Studio Ember. So there's two FIFA games, but they're both mobile games. One technically on Netflix, one's a mobile game. So yeah, that's the games that you're getting now with FIFA. Ron says, time to bring back Bases Loaded and Blades of Steel. They actually just did. Bases Loaded. Base Loaded 2 just popped back up, I think, recently. I think they did. Yeah. Yeah. This is Bases Loaded. This is from April this year, April 11th, 2026. Bases Loaded 2's second season. The several other retro titles from the franchise have been remastered and re-released as part of the Jellicoe Sports series by publisher Rocket Games. The collection includes NES games and Super NES sequels featuring authentic retro gameplay and modern quality of life additions. So you go. Yeah, they already did it. Already did it. Yeah, it came out. It came out this year. Already ahead of you. We actually did a story about that a couple months ago. Yeah. You two can pick it up for Nintendo Switch. I fucking love this game. This game was amazing back in the day. Super Bases Loaded 2. You can't beat MLB The Show. Is just so superior, though. I'll be honest with you. I used to love these types of games, Ken Griffey Jr. Baseball and stuff like that, but holy Christ, the MLB The Show is just top notch. Last one I bought was Roberto Clemente, which is like what, 3 years ago? I think it was the first year it came out on Xbox. Was it 3 years ago? 4 years ago? All right. That chat is going to do it for me. It's 12:30. We'll be back tonight to play some video games over on 30 and Still Gaming. Appreciate you very much. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. We do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. We'll be back tomorrow morning for the Daily Grind. Don't forget to watch us over on Fake Wizard News live on Wednesday nights, 7 p.m. Eastern. And we're also do Shooting the Shit with Charge after that around 9 o'clock, 9:15 over on 30 and Still Gaming. And then we do Generation X Gaming on Thursday nights. All the music that you heard in the beginning of the show and also on the break, you can go to Spotify and listen to all those songs there as well. Appreciate it very much. You guys have a great rest of your day, evening, or night, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care. Peace.
Yo, 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 yo. Used to be wars, now it's open doors. Gamers everywhere, no matter the store. Multi-platform rise, let's go. Cross-play, cross-life, everybody getting hype. Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, PC in sight. No more fences, we're breaking the chains. Gamers worldwide all share the same game. Cross-play, cross-life, everybody getting hype. Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, PC in sight. No more fences, we're breaking the chains. Gamers worldwide all share the same game. Remember the times when
the console wars burn. Had to pick a side, bridges never got turned. Exclusive drops kept us stuck in the fight. Now they shipping everywhere and it feeling right. Halo hit Steam, Kratos left home. Sony cross seas, now we standing on Chrome. Call of Duty don't care where you log in, whether blue, green, red, everybody's locked in. Back then, bragging like my box the best. Now it's yo, what you playing on? That's the real flex. Squads don't split, we unite for the win. Whether PC frames or a pad in your hand. Nintendo still holding Mario tight, but even rumors say Zelda might take flight. From couch to the cloud, from a disc to a stream. Gaming's for us all, that's the multiplied dream. Cross play, cross life, everybody getting hype. Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, PC in sight. No more fences, we're breaking the chains. Gamers worldwide all share the same game. Cross play, cross life, everybody getting hype. Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, PC in sight. No more fences, we're breaking the chains. Gamers worldwide all share the same game. Game Pass rolling, making deals on the low. Sony dropping ports, watch the fan base grow. Even the Switch getting big boy drops. Monster Hunter, Fortnite can't make it stop. Epic and Steam, once fighting for the crown. Now it's like, yo, let the players get down. Cloud stream service, you can play on a phone. Doesn't matter where, you ain't playing alone. From Tekken to FIFA, from Destiny raids, everybody linking up, no matter the shade. Fanboys crying, but the world too loud. Gamers stand tall, multi-platform and proud. Imagine back then if they saw this day. Master Chief on PlayStation, Kratos on Game Pass Play. Sonic and Mario shook hands long ago. Now it's every IP learning how to grow. So no more division, the culture's too wide. We gaming together, controllers collide. This is the future, man, it ain't pretend. Every platform, every player gaming won't end. Cross play, cross life, everybody getting hype. Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, PC in sight. No more fences, we're breaking the chains. Gamers worldwide all share the same game. Cross play, cross life, everybody getting hype.